Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of An Anatomy of the Arts. I'm your host, Ethan Neville, and today, joining me is, I think, one of the most interesting people that I have the honour to interview, PianoMarineMike or Michael Rodgers. How are you, Michael?
Doing great.
That's good. At the beginning of the podcast, I like to kind of go all the way to the beginning of my guest's kind of journey. And if I'm not mistaken, you began learning piano in like first grade, I think it was. What kind of pushed you to like stick with that at that time?
Well, at that time, I had fallen on something called a grate of a floor furnace,
Right.
and I burned my hand severely. And as a kid, I just didn't want to use it, so I had this huge scar on my hand. And so my mother, they didn't really use any type of physical therapy back then. So the doctor just said, find a way to get the boy to use his left hand because I'm right. And so she came up with a great idea. Then I'll put him in with a music teacher and let her teach him piano. We didn't know at the time, it's a lady that taught me for 12 years classical music was she's a graduate of the incredible school up in New York. Juilliard. Yeah, Juilliard.
Yeah.
My daughter will prompt me on certain words.
That's okay. When you were yeah, obviously. When you were learning the piano, was it a kind of an instant connection, or was it like kind of hard to get into at the start?
No, I liked it from the beginning. I wasn't crazy about classical music, but that's what she wanted me to be well trained. She wanted me to know the theory and all that stuff. Yeah. And being a boy in Kentucky who liked football and other things, that was it's like a major sacrifice to be doing that. But the more I played, the more I liked it. Yeah. And I just didn't play the music she wanted. I was really into music of the 60s.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But it was, I really did love it. So I played it quite a bit. I got into high school, which are you've got a total of 12 years of education. When you get into high school, I was a sophomore, and I really began to put together melodies. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed. At that time there were a lot of movie themes coming out and lots of cool stuff like that, and so I started writing movie themes of all things, and I did a lot of that. And played a lot of rock music and stuff. I actually took 6 years of drum lessons too while I was at it. Really, I know. I developed what I called a rhythm style. This is I'm just a country boy learning stuff. Yeah. So basically, I began to play. When you play drums, if you're good at it, there's a lot of things that you can blend with the piano, so you can get a lot of rhythm on the piano. Yeah. And it's almost like you become your own little band by yourself that way. So I did that, had a great time with it. I wrote a song my sophomore year, which I thought was pretty good. Or somebody else did. That's the way it is. But I didn't play in public all that much, but the school had a talent show, and I played in that, and then I played in every year I'd have to play in a classical music concert thing with my teacher and all that good stuff. She was really extraordinary. Just a tremendous pianist. But she taught me a lot. Yeah. And I get a little emotional sometimes, so I think back on it.
That's okay.
But it was a way to express feelings and stuff when you're young. You don't really talk about a lot of stuff.
No, absolutely.
And so I did that, got out of high school, and partied my whole first year of college. I didn't really study.
Yeah. Best way to do it, though, isn't it?
It's the only way to do it. And the funny thing is, the draft had hit in the United States, and I pulled the lucky number of 3. Which put me right at the head of the line. Yeah. But as long as I was in college, they weren't going to go after me. But I dropped out of college after my first year.
Really?
Yeah. I just really, it just didn't seem right at the time. And I knew what was coming. So I had to either join or be joined.
Yeah.
So I went down on a Friday and went to the federal building, and all the services were represented in there. And there was nobody there, which I thought might have been a sign or something. But the truth was, in walks this Marine, and he begins to talk to me. I told him, see, I really wasn't thinking about the Marine Corps that much. My dad was at D-Day in the Army.
Really?
In World War II. All my families have fought in some action every single generation. And I have an older brother, but he didn't go. He would have gone to Canada before he went. It was just a really difficult time in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
Controversial. Most of the press, this is my opinion, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Most of the press was highly prejudiced against people who served in the military. And I went down and I joined the Marines, which I thought was, if I was going to do it, I wanted to go with the best. And I still think they were perhaps some of the best.
Absolutely.
So, so I went down, joined in Louisville, Kentucky, which is about 60 miles from here, and met a guy in line. We were the only two people going in the Marine Corps out of about 80 people, which shows you how stupid we were.
Yeah.
And so we both joined. We went in on the buddy system, went to Paris Island, South Carolina, which is a pretty well-known place, and I spent 6 or 8 weeks, I don't remember exactly, in training. And he and I became really good friends. And we wound up going to advanced infantry training after that, and some other schooling and stuff that we got. And then before we knew it, we were on our aircraft heading to Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And we made it through 13 months in Vietnam, and came back. And I stayed in for 2 or 3 more years because I was married. He was married. I was kind of, I needed to settle down. I was having a tough time dealing with some issues and stuff from that experience. And so they gave me anywhere I wanted to go. So I went to Hawaii.
Nice. Best place to pick.
Hey, why not? And I went there and was in a helicopter outfit, and just had it was a great duty station.
Yeah.
I wanted to finish my college. I had 3 more years. So I went to college at night, and then you don't make any money in the Marines. And I went down and I started playing the piano again. I thought, well, maybe I'll make a little money doing this.
Yeah.
First place I checked out was a place called Martin's Inn, right in Kailua. And they had a baby grand with a bar around it. It was cool.
Yeah.
In fact, they even got into a few tussles with some Australians who came through. I'm not going to hit you at all. Broke out into a fight. I tried to break it up, and they both turned on me.
Right.
Then we all sat down, drank a beer, and played.
Best way to be. Best way to be.
But I always loved the Australians. They were great guys. Anyway, bottom line was, that's where I played for about 3 years at night, about 2 or 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
Again, to pick up parties and other stuff like that, extra money. But I mostly played, I had to go back and I really just played almost by ear because I didn't have any sheet music. And it kind of developed, I have my own style of music. I was playing there one night, and a guy comes in, sits down next to me at the piano, and we began to talk. He was from LA. And he said, do you have any original stuff? I said, yeah, I got a lot.
Yeah.
So play a couple for me. So I did. And I played this one song I wrote, the very first one I ever wrote for a movie when I was a sophomore. And he loved it. He said, I've got a studio in LA. He said, just see if you can come and we'll record something there.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here talking to the guy. I didn't know anybody in the music field, and kind of find out he was Doris Day's son, Terry Melcher.
Oh, really?
Who was one of the producers with the Beach Boys, or the producer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. They had a house out there in Kailua, I guess. he was a great guy. We got to know each other, but the Marine Corps ain't gonna let me go anywhere. They basically, I was active in what I was doing, so I was pretty well roped in. I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get over there, and then I got out. I decided to get out.
Yeah.
And we moved back to Kentucky. I didn't go to LA. I never heard anything else about it. Nothing ever happened, and that was my one experience for maybe a good big break or something.
Yeah.
But he liked my style of music because he liked the way I would play rhythm piano and stuff like that. He's a great guy. And then I came back here and I began to play in a few places, just playing. But I'd finished my college while I was out there, and I went and began to work for a corporation and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So most of my life, that early part of my life, I was having such a difficult time getting my head screwed on right after the time I spent in Nam that I had kind of gave up on a lot of things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
I lost confidence. It's stuff that happens to you sometimes when you're depressed. Yeah. We didn't have anything called PTSD back then. They didn't do anything. They just basically signed the papers and sent you down the road.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know why I was having difficulty in that. But I knew that I was not going to give up. I was going to move ahead. And I did. I worked in several corporations, worked in businesses, owned businesses. I did a lot of things like that. But I think the real passion I had was playing music. I just, I could sit down. I used to walk into a place. There was a piano, nobody was playing. I said, you mind if I play? You know how you do that. Yeah. And so I'd sit down, and within about 10 minutes, I'd have a crowd around me, and I was playing lots of stuff, and they were loving it, you know. But that was just mostly messed around, you know. I didn't think I could make enough money really starting that way. If I had to do it over again, I probably would really focus in on it. But I was married, had 2 kids, had a lot going on, you know, I was just trying to make a living. And so I just walked away from it. But I think I had a gift. Yeah. I don't think you get that very often in life.
Absolutely.
You know? So last summer, I'd been married 52 years. My wife passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was tough. And I told the kids, I said, there's only 2 things that really took the wind out of me. And one of them was Nam. Yeah. The other one was losing your mother. So they're strong-minded, like their mother and a little bit like me. And they decided, you're not going to just sit around. You got to do something. Yeah. So they told me, sorry.
We can take as much time as you want.
They told me, look, you just why don't you play piano again? Why don't you go back to that? And then my daughter, who's a social media guru, she knows all this stuff. Yeah. Started saying, well, why don't we put you on TikTok? So she went and got me a couple of things, and I started taping. And that was one of the first songs I taped, was the one I wrote. Yeah. As a sophomore. And then she said, let's get you a movie studio. You can go, not movie, but a music studio. Yeah. And let them record it, make corrections where needed, and let's see what happens. So I did. She put it on TikTok, and in the first couple of weeks, I think there was 500,000 people that saw it. Then a week or 2 later, it was like another 500,000. And then eventually I put it on Spotify and kind of went nuts. Yeah. And I just got a thing from them, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago saying that I'd had over 2 million streams on Spotify. Go figure that. Yeah, I know. It's a novice, nobody who has his own style, who writes his own music, whatever. And they just went I've got kids from all over the world, people that have done it. In fact, the crazy thing that happened a few months ago that I had up in Canada, there is a basketball team up there. Who was it?
They used it for a TikTok, the Raptors.
Raptors up in Canada. And they used that song to honor their people at halftime.
Yeah.
people that work for him. And somebody sent me and says, "Is it your song?" You know, it's like, I mean, nobody even knows I do this, because everything I do is basically, I've got a little music studio in my home. So I guess, I don't know. My God, they're using my phone. And it was cool. I liked it, but it caught me off guard. And I started having people there, I've had 2 or 3 people in London that want to use it for a movie they're working on or something.
Really? Yeah.
Really. And then because it is written, it really is a heart. It shakes you up when you listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a heart type of song.
Yeah.
And then I began to write music initially for my wife, and then I just began to write music generally.
Yeah.
And so it's just like this has been surreal. I mean, it just sort of snuck up on me. But it also said that it's not too late to do something if you want to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm 73 years old. I've been through combat, lots of different things in life. I mean, I should really be dead, to be honest with you. But for some reason, I believe in God. I think God
works out.
He's holding me out for something. So I'm doing that, and people they love the music. And so, but what I missed out on, because I was so busy trying to make a living and not really in the field, in the business, I didn't play the music of the 60s and the 70s. So I'm going back and I started working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing covers. I'm going to do a cover on CCR.
Yeah.
Just instrumental cover, I always do things different than a lot of people. And then I'm going to do one. I'm working on one with the Eagles, which I like both of those groups a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I like the Beatles, but honestly, CCR is more from my culture and South, from Louisiana and Mississippi, way down there. And then the Eagles are they're just out there. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
They're great.
They're really amazing. They're amazing. Yeah.
They are absolutely amazing. So I'm doing covers. I'm going to do about 10 or 12 on each of them, and kind of form an album that people can listen to if they just want to hear the music part of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to write some arrangements for Christmas, because I think good piano music at Christmas is like a good wine or whatever.
Just a nice chillax, and you have piano in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found a couple of things. The guy who does all the editing on my music said, "Look, why don't you bring in a violinist and a cello, and let's see how that sounds." So he did, and I loved it.
Was that the wedding version?
Yeah, I think it is. It's the same one. And then I've got another one. He brought another violinist in, and I think it's a new beginning or something. I got several types of songs wrapped in there. They're not all the same. I work in C a lot because I'm a novice. I'm not a real pro, but I'm starting to pick it up.
Yeah.
So I figure if I can make it to about 90, I'll be able to knock out quite a few songs. It'll be cool.
That's the plan?
Man, let me tell you something. I'll just finish with this. I've had cancer 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam. And so I've had the damage that occurs. Almost everybody in my unit is gone now.
Really?
From dying since I got back. And so I've had that. I've had diabetes. I mean, I got the whole 9 yards, man. The government really did me up right.
Yeah.
Because they didn't tell us about it for years. And then when I did find out about it, I had already had cancer, had to go. And it's the first time I've been to the VA, but the VA's been incredible at being able to help me. So I'm at first I was angry as what, and the whole thing, because they could tell us, and then it was really devastating. But I'm not angry anymore. Man, I've been through enough stuff, but I'm fortunate I'm still alive. I can't find any of my friends that I served with now. But that sounds sad. But my daughter's over like, "Come on, lighten up a little bit, man." All right, I'll lighten up. But let me tell you what happens. If you're a musician when you're a kid, you'll be a musician when you're older.
Yeah.
You really love it.
It sticks with you, doesn't it?
Uh,
You can. It never goes away.
it's like a I don't know, man. I get up in the middle of the night a lot because I don't sleep a whole lot.
Yeah.
I never have slept a lot since I got back from Nam. But I get up and I play, and melodies are coming to me, and sounds. And no, I'm not a finished pianist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is some of the greatest therapy I could ever hope for.
Yeah.
I mean, it just it calms down my heart, my feelings. And then when I see people who like it, it's great. It's not the money I'm doing. I mean, I won't turn it away.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but the truth is, I'd be doing it if I didn't get a dime. That's how good it is. And so I play a lot of, I just give it away to a lot of people. I just do it because it does more for me than anything that I've ever dealt with. You know, I worked in corporations, I worked in business, I've taught seminars, I've done all types of stuff. And though they're great, in some ways they're rewarding, but there's nothing like the way music touches the hearts of people.
It's a way of expression that, like, it's the best way of expression, even when you can't describe yourself. The music does that for you.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I speak Spanish too.
Yeah.
I learned how to speak Spanish. I worked, and you're going to think, God, this guy's nuts. He's done crazy stuff. I went to South America as a missionary for a period of time.
Really?
And people medical doctors in and translated, in the Amazon and different areas for them. And I had one situation where I went into a little town. The church was just not a whole lot. I can't say the town. I don't want to feel bad, but bottom line is, there was one lady who lived in a hut, and she had an upright piano. Can you believe that? Somebody somehow had decided
gotten it there. Yeah.
Probably some North American trying to change her life. But the really cool thing was nobody knew how to play it. And I said, does anyone know how to play? She said, no. Can you play? And I said, sure.
They heard you were coming. That's why they put it there.
Huh?
They heard you were coming. That's why it was
No,
there.
you know who I was. I've been nobody all my life. It's pretty easy to be nobody, man. So it was a really cool thing. I sat down, and I realized I don't know any nice music. I just know. So I played Elvis. I played all types of stuff that would come to
the classics.
mind.
Yeah.
I loved it. And then I came back the next night. They were going to have a gathering, and they had taken that piano and set it out in the middle of town and wanted me to play it for all the people.
Really?
Yeah. So for one night, I got to be an artist,
Yeah.
And I play a lot of, I spent several years down there, so I have a lot of Latin influence on me too. And this rhythmic is awesome, man.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. This is like a whole new career. It's like I'm starting over again.
Yeah.
And I really am better than I ever thought I was in some ways. Not that I'm great, but I have melodies. I could sit here and just start writing a song for you. You know what I mean? So I do that for people. I'll write them a song and I'll send them a song and say it's yours. And yeah, I think it reflects something about them.
Yeah.
In fact, I just wrote one. My brother passed away several years ago, and his wife, I wrote her a song. Because she's always been a good person. She's just really great. So I do that, and then I'll take. We'll go to church. I'll take an old hymn like Rugged Cross, and completely change it.
Yeah.
And I can see the old people like getting nervous and all this stuff. Makes me feel good because they need to hear it in a new way.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
I mean? So that's kind of it. And so I'm not special, but I've been given a great reason to live. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to play music. I want to make it, I want to touch people's lives. I want to enjoy that because it's one of the great opportunities to do it. I'm blessed, man. I'm a lucky guy. I really am. The fact I'm even alive, I'm lucky. But even more than that, the fact that that I still have this gift hidden away in me all those years, Yeah. And I think that's what I do. I just want to make life better for other people besides me. You know, if I can live this long, I'm still in pretty good shape. I still get out and exercise and all the good stuff, man. 73, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's just where it's just a place you stop on the side of the road and keep going.
Mm.
You know, and that's the great thing about it.
Well, I think it's God's plan for you, isn't it? It's started with you in first grade, and you're still here. You're still here doing that thing. I mean, it's a testament to you as a person. And I can say, you know, when I first heard it, because I heard it back when it was like when the creator was put onto TikTok, I think it was going crazy. I looked on your account and I saw like one video, and it was like this anomaly that it found that many people, because I don't think it's like I've been on TikTok for a while, and the amount of times that I've seen people that post like one video and it reaches that many people and like that wide of an audience is incredible. And I think, but it's not undeserved. What you've created is amazing. And that song, like you said, it's a very hearty song to listen to. And, you know, when you listen to it, you know, you listen to the Eagles, you think about driving down like a desert road in the sunset, roof off, Dodge Charger, you know, that kind of like a Mustang, that kind of thing. You hear CCR and you're in like Louisiana, down the bayou, kind of just cruising.
Listen, when I hear that stuff, I'm in a helicopter, and we've got the helmet on, and I can hear it, and you feel invincible. But come on, throw it at me. But the truth is, by golly, I mean, music has such an incredible impact over the soul.
It does.
Heart,
it does.
mind, and so it's just tremendous. I wish people understood. It's a language, you know. I speak Spanish. I speak a little Portuguese. I read Greek. I read Hebrew. I know a lot of stuff. Okay, but the most amazing thing is the language that comes to us through music. What you're doing is awesome. You're working with people and helping them. You're taking unknown people who I think are just as great as the artists that got all the people behind them, and you're helping them express what's behind it and what their story is, right?
Yeah,
I think it's great what you're doing.
Thank you.
They could take about 5 or 6 of their people off the TV and put you in their place.
Thank you so much.
But they might not, because this is all a game.
It's how it goes.
It's a money deal, you know.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is great.
Thank you. What you're doing is great as well. I mean, it is incredible. I think I don't think there's been a time when I've not spoken to a friend, and you know, a lot at the moment is, you know, during exam period, and people need music to listen to. And I mean, you can listen to like all the rap and all the songs with lyrics as you want, but when you have a stripped back version of a piano, everything kind of goes away. You're kind of locked in. It's not like you're anywhere else. You're in the room and you're listening to that song. And with your song, I don't know, it might sound weird, but I can feel the journey behind the creator. And, you know, I read about when it was created, you know, your wife naming it the creator, you know, the former, you know, you're a former Marine, Vietnam. You can hear all of that in that song. And it's like you were saying with CCR and how you feel invincible. When you listen to that, you can feel the love that was put into it. And that's what's incredible when you're listening to a song that you don't know the person, you don't know, you know, you might know a little of the backstory about the song, why they created it. But when you're listening to that song and you can feel the love radiating from it, that's when you know you've hit gold. And that's what you do with every single song. You know, Ebb Tide, you see, I mean, you go onto your cover of Ebb Tide and you click on the videos. Every single video, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands of, you know, listeners, creations of videos of couples, you know, what you and Debbie were back when you were younger. That's what's incredible to me, is that you've managed to create something that not only relays back to, you know, like generations before you, but it's a testament of your own journey. And that's what I love. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because the creator is single-handedly the most beautiful piece of piano that I've heard. And you know, you can throw Claire de Lune at the wall and you can say, oh, that's amazing. No, that's better. Or you can say, I don't know, anything Debussy does, or any piece of classical writing. But when you have that song that stripped back is solely about one thing, that's what to me makes a good song, because it's not fake, it's true, and it's true to you as a person, and that's why I love it so much. So
you're perceptive to everything, because to me it expresses emotion and feelings that I haven't words to express.
No, exactly. And that's the good thing about music is, no matter, sometimes you can't explain to people, you can't find the right words to describe how you're feeling, but you play a certain song to them, or you play like an instrument to them, you can hear exactly how that person's feeling. And I think even though it's the song's coming from a place of like, love, family, it's how you title the EP Love and Loss. They go both hand in hand. You can't have love without loss. And the creator it's incredible. Every single song that you've done so far, even the CCR, anyone that knows me knows that Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Have you ever seen the rain? I know, like, it's one of my favorite songs, and the fact that you released it a month ago is crazy, because I don't think there's not many CCR covers of Have You, like, it's not exactly there. Like, someone mentions CCR, you'll go Bad Moon Rising, or they'll mention one of the, the well-known ones. Yeah. Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Running Through the Jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, to me, is such an incredible song. Like, I don't even know what it is about it. And that's sometimes some of the best songs. You can't pinpoint a specific, you can say, it's Fogerty's vocals, or it's, the bass that's in the background, or the piano. Yeah. You can't pinpoint what makes the song good. You just kind of got to enjoy it. And, the lyrics, I don't even think, like, the lyrics are just, they're basic. They're not intricate. They're not double entendres. They're not triple entendres.
They have a system in the way they write.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name now, but I can almost duplicate the system in my mind. I think systemically. But I tell you what, growing up in the South in the United States, I was born in Georgia. I come from Southern roots. We're kind of, the rest of the country thinks we're idiots. But the truth is, quite honestly, man, some of the greatest music that's ever been done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You've got jazz from New Orleans. You've got the blues from the Deep South. And that's, to me, like, anyone that also knows me knows that I love jazz. But you've also got Ray Charles. You've also got, the kings of music. And you look back and you're like, Elvis Presley, incredible. He's the king of rock. Ray Charles, king of soul.
Yep.
You have Michael Jackson, king of pop. They all come from the South.
Telling you.
Like, it's incredible that from such a segment of such a big country originates some of the greatest songs. And now you can say that PianoMarineMike, Michael Rodgers, the king of the piano.
Nobody will know what
they will.
Listen, when I was a little kid, my mother and father would go out to eat, and she hired this babysitter. This lady was like 80 years old or something. She couldn't handle us if she wanted to.
Yeah.
But she came in. She used to play in silent movie theaters.
Yeah.
Okay. And just rip out incredible sounds and stuff. So she won my heart right off. And so she would do that. And my brother would die if he knew I was telling the story. We'd put on a show. She would play, and we would dance. And see, my dad, being from Georgia, he knew how to button dance, which not everybody in the world doesn't know what that is. But it's like the thing about the music of the South, I'm prejudiced, is that it comes from the heart. A lot of it does. It comes from pain. It comes from excitement. It ripping, let's have a great time type of thing. And so it's and when they play hymns down there, it's really kind of, I live right in the heart of Appalachia.
Yeah.
Okay. Appalachia is probably, this town started, what was it?
Ragtown. was ragtime.
Ragtime
Father.
began in this little town, practically unknown to the rest of the world, and it came out of here.
Yeah,
Your boy did it.
it's
I mean,
crazy.
Listen, I'll tell you what it tells me. It tells me that if someone has been given a gift or the ability or falls in love with music of a certain type, they're ideal to create new stuff and new just really great music.
Yeah,
So, and I don't. Everybody keeps asking me, "What is your style?" And
yeah,
I'm like, I ain't got no style. That's country way of saying it. I ain't got no style. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah,
I just play. And one song might be one way, another song might be another. I do. I mean, I notice when I write in one particular key or I like a certain thing. That's because I'm not as strong theoretically and all that. But the good thing is that I can sit down, I can hear a song and I can move it right into that key without even trying. I never used to do that. I don't have to read the music. I just have to hear the sounds,
Yeah.
And there are a lot of good musicians out there that do that.
Absolutely.
But you don't hear about what you're doing is you're taking unknown people with an immeasurable gift. All of them have something unique about them.
Yeah.
You're lifting that up, and I mean that's the story, buddy. I mean, because a lot of times kids go through rough times where their parents don't want them to play the piano or do this or do that. Go get a job. By golly, you need to earn a living and all this stuff. I can, if I want to, I believe if I really put the effort in, which is what I'm fixing to do, I believe I can make as much money as I need or want. I just got out of the hospital. I was at the VA. They did some surgery to correct some stuff from Vietnam. But to be honest with you, once I'm back on my feet, see, here's the deal, man. You don't give up. You don't quit. They told me the third time I had cancer from Agent Orange. I said, you know what? I've lost a lot of good friends in Vietnam. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not giving up to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die that way. I'll pick my time to die if I have to. I'll talk to the good Lord. Maybe he'll give me a date or something, but I doubt it. But I'll tell you what, I ain't going to take this crap and die.
Yeah.
Just because of that. And people in World War II fall alongside people from Australia and England and the United States and other countries. And they fought with guts and courage and determination not to quit, not to give up. And then when my war came along, half the country quit. And then there's only some of us who went, who come from the heritage of you stand up for your country. Even though you may not agree with everything, you never agree with everything anyway.
Yeah.
So music is something that if what I do doesn't do anything I want kids to know, don't listen to what everybody else says. Let your heart follow where your spirit takes you on this stuff. I'm not I don't know how to say it. Go on and do what you want to do and do it well and enjoy it. And then if you enjoy it and it touches your heart, I promise you'll be touching somebody else. And that's where it is. And so it's not a matter of everybody always say, oh, you're going to get a Grammy one day, or you're going to get this, or going to be in the music, all that stuff. And because nobody knows I do this hardly. And I tell them, I'm already in it. I'm already there.
Yeah.
Every time I write a song, whatever it may be, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't like all of them, but I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, and by golly, that's the secret to this art, this incredible art. My wife was a great artist. She could draw and paint and do all these things. Man, I can't even draw a straight line without a ruler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes to music, I can hear a melody and I can play it, or it can come about, or it will develop in my hands. It's really cool. So I want young people to know don't listen to the critics. Just follow your heart in it. And it's awesome. What you're doing is that. What do you plan to do in the future?
Well, I kind of this all started because I wanted to do music. I play guitar. You know, I do. Pardon?
I do too.
Oh, really?
Not great.
Neither's I can't either. But I wanted to you know do music, but when I'd search up, because I only had lessons. I had lessons for 3 years, but that all stopped. My teacher wasn't the greatest. It wasn't, you know, on his part, but I was learning. I think I learned Seven Nations Army, Smoke on the Water, and What a Wonderful World on guitar. I think there was like maybe 2 others, but in 3 years I learned like 5 songs, and it wasn't exactly like my greatest achievement. And you know, I gave up with music for a long time, but I was always listening throughout everything. And you know, my mum was loving it because I loved the 80s, and mum was like, oh, because that was her generation of music. That the 80s was what she was listening to. You know, George Michael. I was loving Faith. That was actually what got me into like old music in general. I was watching a TV show, Faith by George Michael came up, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Okay. And that's where my love of like the old kind of music, you know, hit. But I always thought music, I don't know why, I always thought that music always kind of stopped at the 80s, and there was nothing before that. Nothing was, you know, before the 80s. That was it. Everything started then. But my dad, he still loves, and I don't know, I'm talking past tense, but you know, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, Bob Seger, you know, the classics.
Sure.
But back to my point, what I was saying is that I want to do music, but I found out, you know, I'd search up, how, you know, is there any musicians out there that didn't take guitar lessons or didn't do this, you know, because that's what, you know what the media portrays, you know, like let's take Timothy Chalamet, you know, amazing actor, really young. He went to acting school, he went to everything. They portray that part, but they don't show actors that much, or musicians that didn't have the conventional route into their success. And I found that even when I searched up my favorite artist, I'd be like, you couldn't find any information about them. And my listening taste is very broad in some aspects, like the Ray Charles, you know, that the ones that everyone knows, but then it's also very niche in like the folksy kind of, like you were talking about Appalachians. I love an artist called Sam Birchfield. He's very like country music. He's from the Appalachia area. But I couldn't find anything about them. And in my opinion, the people that I've interviewed, including you, are some of the most talented people that I've ever listened to. You know, it's not like they stick to that conventional route either. They're not sticking to that conventional sound. Every single artist has their own way of portraying their music, and that's what intrigued me the most. So I obviously I reached out to, you know, my favorite artists, like the people that I'd listen to daily, because I think at the end of the day, even if this doesn't work out and it's not the plan for me, I've still managed to share my love for music with people that also love music. And I think that that's what is most important to me at the end of the day. I can ask them as many questions as I want, but speaking to the people that I listen to and that I idolize in some ways is crazy to me, and crazy to me now, because, you know, The Creator was a song that I'd play on the car rides home. Within my generation, I don't know many, like a couple of my friends listen to piano music, but it's still quite niche. But I wanted to, you know, show that talent doesn't, you know, just show at the very top. It starts right down, you know, 10 monthly listeners on Spotify. Anyone can, you know, make music, but I think that it takes, like you said, real talent to kind of stick with it. And like you were saying, that to all the younger generations to you know, stick with music, I think it's something that you've done as well. You know, you started young, you gave it up for a bit, but it still stuck with you through your mission, you know, your missionaries, you know, your missions, your jobs, even after Vietnam, when you were playing in the dive bars and all those bars. it still stuck with you. And I think that's what is crazy to me. And that's what I wanted to, portray to other people, that because there's other podcasts out there that, interview and do the same kind of thing. But I think that by focusing on the people that haven't got the biggest foundation, or that maybe even do, but not everyone knows of them. They're not like household names like Drake or, Michael Jackson. Not everyone knows about them. By talking to them, it shows other people how talented they are. Because even, I mean, like I was saying about your music, you can hear the talent behind it. You can hear the journey, but they aren't talking about their music in the song. And that's what I love the most, is when people get passionate about music, about acting. And I think it's really incredible. And that's, after this, I don't know what will happen. I'm going to stick with it as long as possible. Maybe the music industry is what I want to do. But I think at the end of the day, even if it doesn't, it's still something that I'm proud of for doing. And, it's nice to talk to the people that I love to listen to. And like yourself, you can, it's just incredible. And the fact, and even like talking to you now, I wouldn't have ever known about, the intensity of, the emotions behind your music. But by talking to you now, I can listen to your music with a whole new sense of, gratitude for you creating it. And I can fully appreciate, I could appreciate the music before, but I can fully appreciate what you were planning to do with the music. The whole message behind it, like, it's incredible.
See, for me, I just like it.
Yeah.
And I like the expression of it and that type of thing. This is terrible to say. I don't think of myself as an artist or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just a lucky guy who's still alive.
Yeah.
And who has found comfort in something that's been given to me, the music. And if you continue to listen to me,
yeah,
you're going to hear music from all different places. I mean, it's going to be, I can play a lot of Latin music too, but it's really not. I'm not a Latin player, or I'm not this. But I tell you what, I just like music. I like the sounds, and when it's done right, when it's real. Because I use that term. A lot of people don't use real.
Yeah.
They try to duplicate everybody else. But the problem with that is something authentic needs to come out. Okay? What you're doing is authentic within itself.
Yeah.
Because you're not following the mainstream way of handling things, work your way up in the music business and then get, your opinion will be valuable.
Yeah.
You don't understand. There's a whole group of people out here who are making great music.
Yeah.
Who no one ever hears of,
Yeah.
And especially in the United States, because you go to like this town right here, there are people. You go down to the restaurants, there are people playing all over the place.
Yeah.
I've got a good friend who I've known practically his whole life. He's a lot younger than me, but he plays country music. And he's an incredible guitarist. I mean, just absolutely incredible. When I was in South America, I had a good friend who was a Spanish guitarist. And my God, he lived in he had absolutely nothing, but his most valuable possession was his guitar.
Yeah.
And he never got, I don't think he's ever gotten the recognition, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody play with the emotion and expression and talent. I mean, it just dribbles off of it. It's so powerful,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. You're actually catching probably the majority of the music genre across the world. You're catching it in a way that all the other, the commercial, I think of them as commercial.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're catching it. They may set trends because that's how they make their money, and the money goes by the trends and all this sort of stuff. Maybe I'm no expert on all that, but I will tell you this: they will find really talented people out there, and And by golly, the world needs to be able to see with clear glasses because they're not seeing what it's like. I'll go into a restaurant around here and I'll hear somebody play and I'll think, that guy's good. And he doesn't even know he's good.
Yeah.
He's just, it's whatever his grandma says or whatever anybody else thinks, but he's good.
Mm.
I think it's great. So if I'm going to finish the race, which I plan to do, I'm going to have a good time doing it, and I'm going to help raise up people that are kind of beat down by the systems, so to speak, and recognize some really talented people. So I've sold everything, bought another house, and I'm living down in the mountains, driving my daughter crazy. But I'm fortunate because I've got a daughter who's really good at social media and stuff.
Yeah.
She understands all of it, so she's done a lot to help me get it going. And I'm talking a lot. That's what you do when you're old. You talk way more than you should.
No, but in your case, talking way more than you need to. It's not such a thing. It's incredible to hear, your set of music, and I am cautious of the time, and I don't want to keep you for too long. But and like you were saying, what you are doing, and I'll leave you with this, is incredible, and it doesn't matter. When you're listening to music, you don't think about the age of the person. You don't think about, what circumstances they are. But when it's good music and when it's great music and you can listen to it over and over and over again, that's what music is. That's when it's raw from within. That's to me is what music is. And, I thank you for coming on today because it has genuinely been one of the most interesting conversations, and it's so nice to, hear your journey and what led to, might I say, an internet sensation is, within our midst. But thank you for coming on today.
It's my honor, and I want to stay in touch. I'd like to follow, how you're going, where you're
Absolutely.
going, stuff, and maybe somehow we can help each other in the process.
Absolutely.
But I am really grateful for what you do. I'm nobody, and it's great for somebody somewhere in this world to recognize. There's a lady in Japan that writes me a lot, through TikTok, and she's a good pianist. She plays classical music. It's hard for me to evaluate classical music and say this is good or that's not, but I can tell really talented people, and but there are people all over this world who are really connected or been gifted or whatever. And it seems like we need a part of the industry, if you want to call it an industry, that actually does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
They try to do it, but I think the commercialization of it all kind of messes it up. So anyway, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been amazing.
Yeah, same here too.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you haven't listened to any of Michael's music, or if you've listened to one song, you need to listen to every single song back to back. Then listen to it again. Because when I tell you this man is incredibly talented, he is the definition of music, in my opinion. So thank you all for watching. Michael, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next episode.